We've seen the theoretical side of our multiple table relationship database, in that we've seen why we would even want to have a multiple table database and how to then join the primary key to the foreign key in another table. Taking our customers database, we have our TBL customers in place, but we don't have the other two tables. So the first stage in creating these relationships is actually to create the two new tables. So we need a new table in design, TBL sales. We want a sales ID, which will be the auto number and the primary key, the sales value, which is going to be currency, the sales date, which is going to be date time, and then we need the field that will act as the foreign key, which is the sale client. That would need to be a number because it's going to link to the primary key in the customers table and must be of the same data type. You can only link two fields together if they have the same data type, because then they're going to have, hopefully, the same data. So the ID of the customers is going to appear in the sales table, so we know which customer is buying which or has bought which. Let's save our table and then close, and that appears in the tables list, TBL sales, where we can then add in sales by client. So I could add in 75,000. June 5th, 2013, I need to know the ID of the client, so the customer ID. For that, for the moment, I will need to look in the customers table, and we can give that to customer number 2, and we're able to then enter sales. The second of our little tables, or the third table we require in our database, is the country one. So let's create a table, drop into design, TBL countries. We need an ID for each country, so a country ID. It's going to be the primary key set as an auto number, and then the country name, which short text is fine, 255 characters. So we save and close, and we can open the countries table and see we're ready to add our fields. Now the countries already exist in the data, they're in the customers table, and we have here a little query that's been created to pull out each unique country. So if I double click that, we can see we have our unique countries. And what I can then do is copy each of these countries and paste them into the countries table. However, because of the country ID, it will try paste them into there. So we're going to do a little trick here in our query. Insert a blank column, N0. Doesn't really matter what it has. It's just a little trick. We don't need the first one, they're empty. And then into here and paste. You can see that way we get the country names in the correct column. Are you sure you want to paste 6 records? Yes, I am. Now in the unique countries, there are some blanks. So I'm going to just add an NA into my country list, and that will cover us for the blanks. So that sets up the extra tables. The countries have the country names in. That's great. Save the changes to the layout. Well, that's just because I've widened the column. Close the unique countries query. We'll save the changes because I added that extra column in. Now we have the tricky bit, which is linking these 3 tables together. Well, we know how the link should look because we did them in our little Word document. To do them for real in Access, we go to Database Tools, Relationships. We then need to decide which tables we want to add to the relationship window. That's all of them. So we can shift click to select all of those and add. And then close. We see the tables are dropped in. I'm just going to open up the customers table so far that the scroll bar disappears. Am I going to be able to go that far? No. Hopefully, on a larger screen resolution, you'd be able to open that far enough and the scroll bar will disappear if it goes far enough. If I hide the ribbon, we might just make it. There we go. So those are my 3 tables. I'm going to put the customers one in the middle. The countries is going to link to the country region, so let's just move it closer. It doesn't need to be close for it to work. And the sales is going to link to the CID, so that can stay there. Now the mechanics to link the CID, which is the primary key in the customers table, to the sales client, which will be our foreign key in the sales table, is to click and hold on the CID, then drag And you can see there's a no entry sign at the minute, but when I get to another field in another table, I then get a little plus symbol. At that point, I can let go. And then ask to confirm that it's the CID in the customers table that's going to link to the sales client in the sales table. And then I can click create. These other options we will look at shortly. For the moment, we just want to create the join. And hey presto, we have our relationship in place. Now you'll find that you can move the sales table wherever you like. That join will remain. So the join is in place. Now the other one we know, it's the country ID is the primary key, is going to link to the country region name. Now if I try the same thing, grab, drag, drop. So it's the country ID in the countries, it's going to be the primary key that links to the country region name. We see here that it's a one-to-many relationship and we can click create. So that creates the join between country ID and country region name and the sales client and the CID. So that's the basic mechanics. If we then close the relationship window, I'm asked if I want to save the changes, but this is just to the layout. Notice that word there. It's not to the relationships. The relationships have been created. What you're saving now is where you've left them on the screen. If we say yes, when we then come back to here, they're in exactly the same place. So you're just saying, yes, leave them where I left them. I like the layout. Thank you very much. But not the relationship. That's created the minute you drag one field to another and click the create button.